Back in the CineMilled garage once again with the moment I've been waiting for a really long time, which is we are here today with this beautiful case presenting to you the CineMilled Action Arm. We make a lot of really great, simple accessories here at CineMilled. And the problem is we get caught up with those smaller projects. And the bigger projects like the Action Arm kind of get pushed down the road a little bit longer than I would like. But finally, you know, we got the case figured out, we got everything figured out, and now we are ready to bring you the Action Arm. There you have it. Here you see all the custom laser cut foam. And immediately, one of the things you notice is that there's really isn't that many parts to it. The other thing you're gonna notice, everything is extremely beefy. These are all very much overbuilt parts. And one of the reasons for that is the Action Arm is built to handle anything from like a lightweight Movi setup all the way to full-on real cinema heads. So right away what you're going to notice is there isn't that many parts. It's basically 3 parts. We got the main frame right here with the triple clamps that come pre-assembled. We have the main offset plate, and then we have the shock, which is the heart of the system. And then here we have the accessory pocket. So in this accessory pocket we have the included Fox shock pump, which is how we're going to adjust the Fox shock. And then we have the 2 main axles, one of the axles with the bearings already attached to it. Here is the heart of the system. It's the Fox Float X2 air oil shock. So Fox Racing is an incredibly highly respected company in the off-road industry. They make the absolute best off-road racing shocks, all the way from mountain bikes all the way to trophy trucks, like we found out. So they take all that technology that makes that trophy truck dance in the desert over those huge bumps at 100 miles an hour and apply it to all of their high-end line of shocks. This comes pre-assembled. This is the main frame and the triple clamps. And you're just gonna wanna completely remove and disassemble the back side of the triple clamp here. So I go a little bit on each side. You know, I never want to go too tight on one side only. The hardware is very heavy duty, high grade stainless. Okay, so there you have it. So just like that, just 4 bolts, and now we got the main frame attached to the dual speed rails here we have coming off of our CineMilled hitch. You'll see here, we do sell the triple clamps by themselves. I like to add one always at the end to just add a little bit more rigidity to this whole setup. This is extremely solid setup we have here, and we've gone over this in a separate video. The first step in continuing to assemble the Action Arm is to take the shock, and it actually mounts essentially upside down kind of. So with the thick part of the shock at the bottom, and also important to note the orientation of the adjustment reservoir. It's actually going to be facing down. If you have it rotated up, it's going to interfere with the offset plate when you go on to the next step. So we're going to want to slide that into place, and then you're going to take the alignment tool that we'll include, and that lines up all the bores so the axle shaft just slides right in. Now that your shock's in place, I'm just going to slowly lower it into position. The next step is going to be mounting the heavy offset plate. So this is the step that it really helps to have an assistant. I don't have one today, and I also kind of want to show you that it is totally possible and feasible to do this yourself. And so you're going to want to hold the spacers in position right here. So, and then you're going to want to guide it in, and there you go. Line it up as best you can with your hand. Take the alignment tool, shove it in there on the other side. That lines up the other side. And then slide it in here. And I like to leave it in there. Take the other axle, move it in place, and now that slides right in. Axle alignment tool makes this process go together really easily. So don't let this drop because it's going to drop on your shock. Just hold it up, unscrew the shock bolt, leave it somewhere accessible, like I'm going to leave mine right there. Now you lift up your shock and you're going to maneuver it into position. And once again, you can use the alignment tool just like we've been using on all the other ones. Also works for this, except this time it's not going to go all the way through because we have a thread on this side. But you can align it mostly, push it in until it stops, and that actually aligns it all together. And then we take our shock bolt and we just push that through till you see it contact the threads on this side. That's pretty much it. And so at this point now, we want to take our thumb screws and finish securing the axles in place. You take a flathead and tighten the main shock bolt. So that's the CineMilled action arm assembled and on the double vertical speed rails. So by using our triple clamps. Now, of course, you can mount the CineMilled action arm on a single speed rail as well. One of the big points about the action arm is how portable it is, right? Once I own it, unless I'm going to travel somewhere, honestly, I just leave it set up. Why? Because as easy as this process is with the alignment tool and everything, there's really no need to keep taking this apart, putting it back together, take it apart, put it back together. Personally, what I do is once I'm done with the shoot, I just loosen these 4 main bolts on the triple clamps and the whole thing comes off as one big assembly. I put the rest of the triple clamp back on it and I store this on my camera truck or my grip truck. And then that way it's ready to go. You don't have to do anything. You just split the triple clamps apart, slide it onto the speed rail, put it at the height you need, and you're off to the races. So now that we got the isolator on there, we got the Ronin 2 on there, just to sort of continue on with this Ronin 2 sort of theme. The top of the arm here is all cheesed out, and one of the spacings we have on here matches up with our universal battery plate. So the universal battery plate, it bolts to the Ronin 2 power module, battery module. And so the reason why that's important is you don't want to have the battery module right here on the directly attached to the Ronin, if you can help it, because it can start an oscillation, a side-to-side oscillation. So it's highly recommended to mount your batteries elsewhere. So in this case, you can actually mount them, our universal battery plate that bolts to the power module is drilled out and is spaced out where you can mount it directly to the action arm. I like to have it closer to the end, because honestly, the more weight you put on this arm, the better it's going to work. So this is actually a good thing. Take the Ronin 2 power cable, and the CineMilled Mitchell mount. Mitchell collar has a hole in the center. You can run that through the bottom of the center of the hole there, and boom, into the power in on the Ronin. And then you dress this up and there you go. So one of the things I wanted to show is that the CineMilled action arm works equally as good in overslung and underslung. And so right now we're underslung, and so I'm just going to grab here my CineMilled Mitchell wrench. All right. And we're just going to flip this over. Bam. Boom. So this provides a way, if you only have 6 feet of vertical speed rail like we have here, you have just moved it to from under to over. So in under, if we had slid this down, we'd be able to be scraping the ground. And now that we're over and we haven't even gone to the top stick here, we have now gained like 3 or 4 feet of lens height. So just goes to show that the arm doesn't care. If you have the payload in overslung or underslung, you may need to adjust your spring a little bit because, you know, it's different forces acting on it this way. Right now, since we just flipped it from under to over, it's trying to stretch the springs, and it works like that also, but it works much better if you keep the springs under compression. And so you can actually convert this so that it even though it's overslung, it's still compressing the springs, but you have to reconfigure the isolator mount. This video is meant to give you a very good general overview of all the aspects of the action arm. So you saw how quickly it goes together, how simple it is, and how easy it is to go from under to over to underslung. If you still have any questions, as usual, feel free to comment on the video, and I'm very active, and hopefully I can get to your question really quick. Or, you know, we have the CineMilled Facebook group, and there's a great cinema vehicle rigging Facebook group where it's, you know, all about things like this. And there's a lot of people. There's over 7,000 people in there. Tons of key grips. You can post your rig and see and get advice. You can learn by seeing what other people are posting. That's really cool. I'm just really excited to have the action arm finally done and ready to ship to you, and I want to get it in your guys' hands, and I can't wait to start seeing the footage that you guys are going to put out with it. So, all right guys, I'm going to end it right here, and thanks a lot, and I'll see you on the next one.